So this is a video for homework 8, problem 3. And what we're asked to do here is to test the hypothesis that, first of all, the null is that the random variable x is binomial, and the alternative hypothesis is that it's not binomial. So we have that, in our null hypothesis that it follows a certain distribution, and then the second, that it does not follow that distribution. So we are going to perform this chi-square test in StatCrunch. So there are three things we're going to be finding. We're going to find, first of all, the test statistic, the degrees of freedom, and the critical value itself. So what you're going to do is this is your table here for your distribution, and we're going to click this little blue box to open our data in StatCrunch. Now to run your chi-square test, you'll go to Stat. You will go to Goodness of Fit, because that's what they call it, the chi-square goodness of fit test, and we'll do chi-square test here. So now you can see that we need to enter our observed column, which they've marked observed for me, which is nice, and my expected column, which they've marked expected. And then we just click compute. So you can see here that what we have is the chi-square value that they got. Again, they wanted us to round to 2 decimal places, or to the hundredths place. So you can see that we've written 13.5 here. And then the degrees of freedom is 4. Now, one thing that this doesn't give us here is it doesn't give us our critical value. So to get the critical value, we're going to go to Stat, Calculators, and go to chi-square, excuse me. Now, when we're running the chi-square test to say that, we think that the random variable has this distribution, and then h sub 1 is that the random variable does not have this distribution, we're going to be looking at our level of significance. Okay, so for 0.05 is our alpha. And we're always going to run this to the right when we're doing that type of test. So we're going to change this to the area to the right, and we want the area to the right to be 0.05. Now, the other thing I have to change here is my degrees of freedom, which we found out was 4, and click compute. And you can see here now we have that critical value, so 9.487, and I think that they rounded again. Well, here they rounded to 3 decimal places, so 9.488. Because if you look here, they had another 7 in that 4th decimal place. Okay, so then, should the null hypothesis be rejected? And again, we're going to be looking at our critical value versus our test statistic. So because your test statistic falls in the rejection region, again, if you look at this little graph here, this red area is your rejection region. Okay, so because this test statistic falls in the rejection region, we reject H naught, right? So that's why it's called the rejection region. It has you reject the null hypothesis. And remember, the null hypothesis is always the one on trial, never the alternative hypothesis. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, let me know.